I am happy to say that it has officially been a month that we've been doing the pantry challenge, and we have yet to go to the grocery store. Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. My name is Austin if you're new, and this is the Cypress and Sparrow Homestead. And if you've been following any of the previous videos, we are participating in the January pantry challenge that was put forth by Three Rivers Homestead. Real quick, if you're not familiar, the premise is basically not to shop at the grocery store for 2 months in order to eat up the food and the produce that you've grown in the previous growing season so that we are able to make room for this next harvest season. And like I said, it has been a month and we accomplished month 1. We did not go to the grocery store for anything food related. We did go one time to get dish detergent, but I'm not counting that. So I'm counting month 1 as a victory. And this is the longest we have ever gone. Previously, we had gone 3 weeks, I believe was the longest, and now we've hit a month and we've learned a lot. And so I'm hoping to share some of the pros and cons, some of the things that we learned, and some of the ideas and thoughts that we are taking into month 2 of the Three Rivers Pantry Challenge. So I wrote down some thoughts and some pros and cons of the challenge thus far and what we've learned. In the category of the pros, I think the biggest thing that has been beneficial about this challenge is the fact that we're saving a ton of money on going out and going to the grocery store. At the beginning of the challenge in December of 2021, so at the very end, we went to the grocery store to kind of stock up, to prep a little bit more, to fill some of the holes that we had in our pantry, and we spent around $150, I think. And since then, we haven't been back for food. And it just kind of puts things into perspective how quickly grocery bills can add up. When you're just stopping by after work or whatever, you know, 20 bucks here, 30 bucks there, those trips quickly add up. But what's so great about this challenge is when you pre-plan your budget for the month, when you pre-plan even some meals for the month, it really helps to save, and it really helps to eliminate those smaller trips to the grocery store that add up over the course of a month. So that's been the first pro, is definitely have saved a lot of money on our food bill. The second pro, and this is gonna sound super obvious, but we're actually eating the food that we have stored up. I am terrible when it comes to letting food sit in the fridge and letting food sit in the pantry, and then once it goes bad, just tossing it. I'm working on it, I'm trying to get better, I'm hoping this challenge helps. But we're actually eating the food that we have, and we're not throwing food away once it goes bad, because we don't have a lot of food going bad. So that's been the second pro, is we're not wasting food and we're eating the food that we intentionally stored previously. Third is we're trying a lot of different recipes. We're trying to take maybe some old recipes and put a new twist on them, add some new flavor combinations, new spice blends, whatever it might be, to create a new dish and to make it a little bit more exciting and not so mundane and boring and repetitive. Though I do have to note, this was a lot easier at the beginning of the month before different ingredients, things like sauces or dressings or spices ran out. Because once you're out, and if you're telling yourself you're not going grocery shopping, you're kind of out of luck with that spice. The thing that's broken my heart the most is we've been out of ranch dressing for like 2 weeks, and I love ranch. I love it so much. But I got a nice comment and a recommendation to try homemade ranch. So we're gonna be trying that very, very soon. The last 2 pros real quick that I'm finding is we're saving a lot of time shopping because we're not going to the grocery store. So for us, it takes about 15 minutes or so to get to the nearest grocery store. And you know, maybe you spend an hour in the store and then 15 minutes back, you know, there's an hour and a half right there that you saved in your week. And for some of you, I'm sure the grocery store is even further away. So that's been a nice plus. And last is we're not snacking as much. We're eating, you know, our main meals, and then we're not really snacking because we don't have snacks really in the house. We'll do like chips and salsa every once in a while, but we didn't really purchase snacks in the beginning of this, so it kind of forced us to not have snacks. But it's been a good benefit, I would say. So there's a lot of pros, but you might be wondering, what are the cons that we've run into? And I think the first thing is, it's just kind of a general, not frustration, but like a little disappointment when you realize you're out of something and you're like, oh, shoot. I really was looking forward to eating that or drinking that or whatever it was, and realizing like, oh shoot, I have to go another, whatever, a month without that thing. Which could also be a good thing depending on how you look at it. Helps practice patience and giving up stuff that maybe you don't need if it's a unhealthy item, whatever it is. But there's been those little moments of disappointment for sure that naturally is gonna come along with a challenge like this. The next con I would say, and this one probably is just for us because we probably weren't the most prepared coming into this. We didn't have a huge storage and stockpile of food, but that would just be the limited variety of meals. We're pretty limited in the type of meals that we've had. So we've had a lot of like rice dishes because we have a lot of rice, a lot of potato dishes because we have potatoes from the fall. We have made a lot of soups and a lot of curries, and then just like a basic like protein meals with some veggies on the side. Like those 4 or 5 meals have pretty much been it, because that's what we had going into the challenge. So it's been good. I'm one that I can live without a ton of variety and I can eat the same thing over and over again. But for someone that can't do that or doesn't enjoy doing that, that is definitely a con to this challenge if you are not more prepared and have a bigger stockpile of food when you start the challenge. And the last con that I found, and this is probably the biggest one, and it also depends on the time of year that you're doing this challenge, but that would just be fresh produce. Here in Wisconsin in the winter, we don't get fresh produce. We have been growing some lettuces, which has been good, but outside of that, pretty much all of our veggies and fruits have just been frozen. Again, I don't mind that much, and I don't really know enough or really feel competent enough to talk about like the nutrient differences in fresh produce versus frozen, but that's been a con when you don't have fresh produce outside and you're not able to go to the grocery store. You're kind of stuck to canned, frozen, or whatever pickled vegetables that you might have on hand. But outside of those 3, I really haven't found any other cons to this, which is really good and really encouraging. So we are headed into month 2 and we're excited and we are going to give it a shot. I don't know if we're gonna make it the whole second month, and I already know by the end, if we do make it, our meals are going to be pretty bland, we'll say. As we wrap up this video, just a couple things that we've learned is we've really been able to see where the holes in our pantry are. And I think it kind of comes in the biggest form, and I'm kind of labeling it as substantial food versus supplemental food. And what I mean by supplemental versus substantial is we have a lot of supplemental items in our pantry, supplemental produce even, that goes really well as like a side dish, but it's not necessarily the main dish. Or it's really good on top of a main dish, but again, it's not the main dish. So I think trying to grow some more calorically dense foods like potatoes or squashes will go a long way if we ever decide to do this challenge again. One thing that I would be curious about would be to try and do this challenge in the summer when we have fresh produce growing outside and can take from the garden, because I do think that would make a huge difference as far as one's success with doing this challenge. Thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna go make a soup right now, but wherever you're watching this, whenever you're watching this, if you are thinking at all about trying to do a pantry challenge, we've enjoyed our experience. Will we do it again? Most likely. And I think everyone should at least try and do some sort of challenge. It might not have to be 2 months, maybe it's even just 2 weeks of not going to the grocery store. And I think you'll learn a lot about what your eating habits are, what your spending habits are, what you have a lot of, and what you enjoy to eat. When you're not able to go to the grocery store, walk down the street, drive your car down the road to go pick up whatever you're craving in that moment, it really kind of enlightens you into what you actually look forward to eating and what you find satiating and healthy and all the above. So thank you guys for watching. We will see you in month 2 of the Pantry Challenge. If you're doing the Pantry Challenge yourself, I hope that it is going well. My name is Austin. Again, this is Cypress and Sparrow Homestead. We will see you in the next video. Peace.